How's it going? This is Cap and Knife. Today I'm hanging out with my brother Will, Peace, Love, and Guns, and today I wanted to do a quick overview of a knife review, kind of knife overview. Recently I went to a place in Fort Worth, Texas. They had the ICE show, and it is a knife convention, and I managed to meet a gentleman by the name of Charles Carpenter. And he makes really phenomenal blades. I arrived late at the show, and when I arrived I didn't have a lot of time because people were packing up and leaving, and people had sold out of knives, so there was a lot of empty booths looking around, so I had a lot of ground to cover in a short amount of time. So I cycled the whole area and kind of got an idea of what I liked that people were making, and maybe things that I'd pass on, like, you know, big knuckles and beer bottle openers that are tactical, and self, you know, defense pins and tactical, you know, anodized, you know, titanium and stuff that I don't care for, that has no real purpose. So amongst my walking around, I happened to notice a booth of a gentleman that was making what looked to be traditional classic Bowie knives, and they looked to be very quality. So I actually passed by his booth 3 different times, and he ended up saying to me, he said, pick it up and hold it. And so I picked it up and I held it, and to my surprise, I held what was a lightweight Bowie. I'm gonna go ahead and show it to you guys now. This is it. I'm actually wearing it. Yeah, this is a shark skin with a it's a pig skin sheath with a shark skin inlay or whatever have you, and it's a very well made sheath. It's a little bit tight. This is the blade that we'll be looking at today. This is a Charles Carpenter design. It has phosphor bronze right there, and then it's got a couple collars that are made out of stainless steel, and this portion, this cross guard, is Damascus. And upon holding the blade, I was so impressed with how light it was in hand, how maneuverable it is, and so I said I had to have one. It's not like something that you would feel with a normal factory Bowie knife. I'm of the belief that a factory Bowie knife probably couldn't be made to these standards and still perform its functions, whether it be chopping or this or that. This is a very light blade. You can tell with the thickness, it's a relatively thinner Bowie. It's not meant necessarily as a primary user to be chopping and batoning through firewood. It has a Damascus type blade. It's a San Mai Damascus blade that Charles Carpenter did a fantastic job. I'll flip it to this side. You can see his name is actually on the blade. It's stamped into the blade. And we also notice that there's file work added to the ricasso or cross guard of the blade. It's like that of a kind of a clamshell kind of design, and it's on the underside of this as well. And the cross guard kind of curves like an S pattern, and believe it or not, the sheath actually, where it meets up, it actually comes up here and it goes down there. Charles Carpenter is a phenomenal bladesmith, and I would recommend you checking him out. One thing about this knife is it's relatively thin. It's not as thick as one would think, and that is because this is a proper fighting knife. That's what this is made for. It's not a use and abuse it kind of Bowie where you're you know, batoning through wood and stuff like that. Could it do it? Yeah, I'm sure it could. He actually sent me pictures in email format of the construction, and it actually has a really thick tang, and that tang, okay, you see that it has a bronze collar, and then it has these layered portions that go onto the collar. It actually has pins, hardened steel pins that go into this blade, and I would guess it's epoxied together to tighten the fit. I'm sure he would heat up the tang of the knife and then burn, you know, he'd probably drill a hole and then burn a hole with the heated bit of the tang, right, until it got a snug fit, and then he would epoxy all of this and then hammer it on, and then he has this hardened pin throughout this. This is African Blackwood. It's a hardwood variety, and it's very beautiful. If the sun was out, you could see that it actually has streaks of red and lighter streaks. It's very beautiful. It has I forget how many layers of Damascus, but it's several. But anywho, that's something I want to show with you guys. This is a custom piece. This is a handmade item. I don't believe I've ever held a Bowie knife that was quite as fine. His classic fighter, I believe, is his baseline model, and everything is completely smooth on the crossguard. It just melts into your hand. And if you've ever considered getting high-end carry, like for example a custom pair of boots or a custom knife, you know, there is a difference in quality, I guess is what I'm saying, that would make one spend the money in the coin to get a knife of such expense. There is a difference, and there is a reason why someone would look for that. If you've ever been interested in having a handmade Bowie made for you, I would definitely look up Charles Carpenter. He's his forge is called Big River Forge, and you can find him on the internet. So just remember that, Big River Forge. Charles Carpenter, excellent blade, excellent work, very light, very fast in hand, you know what I mean? So check him out. One thing that I did to the blade was it had a nice edge on it, but it wasn't razor sharp. I actually sharpened it up and stropped it with some diamond, and I also coated the blade with cold blue, just regular cold blue birchwood and Casey, that kind of stuff you can get at Walmart. The reason I did that was just to aid in rust protection, but also I feel like Damascus, the finish of Damascus, the light and dark, I think that it adds something to it to be blued. I think that what it does is it adds a sheen of blues, purples, and even gold colors. So yeah, I coated it with blue, and that also helps protect the finish. When it's oiled up, it's less susceptible to rust. So that's just a personal preference of mine. A lot of people might look down on that I would take, you know, a handmade custom blade, one of a kind, and do something crazy like this. But to me, I thought it went with the theme. You know, it's like we've got African Blackwood, we have a blued blade. This is a, you know, black on black theme. Also, one thing I wanted to mention is the sheath that he made is of top quality. The leather is just fantastic. I waxed it a little bit so that it'd give it more structural rigidity and resistance against the weather in aging. But this is a top quality leather. He even sent me a warning via email, basically saying, hey, the tip is so thin and so sharp that it's very easy to puncture the sheath if you insert it wrong. So it's quite literally like getting a brand new baseball glove. The sheath is very tight, and so it's one of those things like a new pair of shoes that needs to be broken in. So with proper oiling and proper care, it breaks in. But it's a very tight sheath. It's a very nicely made sheath. It's a very quality made sheath. You can tell that around the front of it that they're stacked leather, and that the way the leather stacks actually aids in the structural rigidity of the item as a whole. So it's a very well-made sheath, a very well-made knife, and I feel like money well spent. So if you happen to be looking for a custom-made Bowie that's made to precision qualities, a fighting knife, a purpose-built fighting knife, ladies and gentlemen, you can have quality, you can have form, and you can have function. You can have it all. Don't just settle for, you know, just something that can hack away at things. You know, carpe diem. So if you like this video, you want to see more knife videos and more projects that maybe excite you, please comment, like, subscribe, and like I said, if you have content you want me to view, send it out to me, whether it's a knife or some kind of implement. I'll take a look at it if it's less lethal or whatever have you. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe. Later.